All right. Disclaimer.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalMister.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich.
All right. Hello, everybody. I have the camera on. I decided since I'm not going to be here in Bangkok for maybe almost 2 weeks, that it would be a good idea to put, show you the camera, because I know for like 2-3 weeks I haven't been using the camera. I didn't really fix my hair. Got to fire the stylist. Don't have one of those at 11 o'clock at night in Thailand. But hopefully everybody's doing well. I know the market's closed today, but a lot is happening. The S&P futures are still moving. So I think it's worth it to kind of go over what could potentially happen with the big Opex, and also obviously the escalation happening in the Middle East, and with Russia saying some things like they're going to get involved if the US does something, and then some stuff going on with China, I believe. So this event has gone from like a little thing to maybe it could be a bigger thing. I'm sure, I know the mainstream media has made it seem like it's a really big thing, but okay, is anybody here? Normally people say hi. Am I live? Last time I talked to myself for 2 weeks ago, I talked to myself. So I want to make sure that I'm live. Is anyone here? It says 3 people. All right, I'm going to assume that you guys are here and everything's working. I'm going to shrink myself, and we're going to go through what I think is going to happen on Friday and then a big part of next week. So let me just shrink it. Shrink me. Okay, here I am in the bottom corner. Let me adjust this actually. Hello, Mark. Hello, JB. Turn this a little bit more. Okay, so now I'm kind of centered. Okay, it's working. Good. Let me make sure the mic should be connected to the right microphone. Properties. Yes, DJI. Okay. And it's loud enough? You guys can hear me pretty well? Oh, we've got 9 people now. Amazing. I love if we can get 20. I know it's some kind of holiday, but that would be great. Okay, so the big thing I want to touch on is options expiry. That's going to be a big theme here today. Loud and clear. Okay, glad to hear it, Mark. And good to see you. I don't think I've ever seen you before. JB, all right, thank you. So here we go. Tomorrow, big expiry. So for example, at 580, you've got 134,000 calls. But right now, the SPY closed at basically 600. But max pain, so highest open interest is 580. Max pain is basically 580. So the market's going to want to get as close as possible to this 580. And that's why I think what is going to happen, and is already happening. Okay, let's go back. So you can see SPY closed at like 597. If we go here, go back, and you can see what's happening is we're coming way down. So this would be around 592, 591 on the SPY. And we want it, the market wants to get to 580, right around here. There are quite a lot of puts here, so maybe they end up wanting it around 590. 580 to 590 would be like a good kind of range to expect for the market tomorrow. And we're almost there already. I mean, the move, this was the move while the market was closed right here. But here's the thing, this could turn into something bigger. I'm not saying it will for sure, but on a daily chart, this does not look good. You don't buy this. The other thing is, on a weekly chart, this also looks bad. I was turbo bullish on the market ever since down here, way down here. I was bullish, super bullish here, and I've been bullish nonstop every week since then. This is the first week where I'm not feeling as bullish. It doesn't look bullish to me. A TD8 on a weekly chart is not a good sign. Every single time this has come in, usually we pull back, or at least we pause. You can see here we paused, here we went up a little higher, then we pulled back, You can see it here, we went up a little higher, then we had a big pullback. Here, pause, pullback, slight up move, and then big pullback. So you can see how consistently the market kind of rolls over a little bit when this happens. And that's why I'm saying don't be turbo bullish here. Unless you're in metals like Cotter. If you're in, we'll talk about metals a little bit. I know Cotter, congratulations on the platinum trade. I think your kids are very lucky. I wish I had a Cotter as a dad. I probably wouldn't work as hard though. Don't give them anything. Make sure they work. Make sure they don't even know about it, because otherwise people get lazy when they know they're going to get money. Me, I'm assuming I will never get anything, so I have to keep working. Luckily, I've done pretty well so far, so can't really complain. So look at this. This is my chart that I talk about every week, and I said this is my final target up here, 4.618. This is the zone I'm kind of targeting, 6,650, 6,600. Things could adjust. We could end up going higher than this, but in the short term, this is kind of my general target. But we're rejecting from my 2.618 level, which commonly happens. We're getting that rejection, and you can see on RSI, we've got divergence, bearish divergence here. And this is basically confirmed. Here was the first breakdown, and then here's the second breakdown right here. And this was your breakdown right there. So not looking good. I can't get bullish on this now until we break higher again. And further, the TD8 on the weekly looks bad. However, momentum is still to the upside. So I don't want to get long-term bearish. I'm short-term bearish for now. So for the next week, I'm not seeing we're going to run to all-time highs. It's not what I'm not seeing that. And I am positioned defensively. And I'll show you some of the things I'm short in to kind of protect myself. Mostly I have puts in a couple different names. But yeah, so okay. This pullback is expected. Now, where do we kind of stop pulling back? Well, here's a big level. 58.70 is a big one. Maybe we go to like a little bit lower time frame and look at support and resistance. Yeah, this is a major level right here. So 5,900, 58.70 area, kind of the bottom end of this range. Can you see this here? We go all the way back. Huge support right here, 58.50. So 5,900, 58.50, those are kind of big levels. I mean, you're kind of saying like, yeah, that's obvious, man. I know that. What's going to happen? Are we going to bounce from there? Or when do I buy? Or how do I make money? I mean, maybe some people are thinking that. Most of you are probably very experienced and you're not thinking that. But, oh, my chair just, there we go. Okay. So if I was playing this, which I am, I would expect to move eventually down to this area, possibly as early as Friday. And then we get some kind of bounce. And then maybe we roll over a bit more. And then we move up. Something like that. That's what I could expect. Now why don't I think we're going to go all the way down? Here's the main reason. Can anybody guess why I don't think we're just going to crash completely? Anyone? There's 15 people watching. Is everybody working? Are you guys working today? Is everybody at work, or does everyone in the US have off work? Okay, nobody's talking. All right, well, I will show you why. If we go to a daily chart, the reason why the market cannot just dump hard is because of M2 money supply. Market generally follows M2 money supply, and that's basically what's been happening. And M2 money supply is printing like crazy. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, see, I gotta adjust the offset. Offset is set for Bitcoin right now. Oh, I always mess this up. Do I need to go forward or back? Let's see. Okay, so that's too far. 75. I'm gonna kind of get it as close as possible to this whole thing. expand this a bit. I always try to line it up and it just doesn't really line up that well, unfortunately. I would say this is pretty close. So you can see this big spike. This big spike hasn't really happened yet. I do think that I need to, maybe we go like 85. No, that's the wrong way. 70. Yeah, this I kind of like. This seems to line up pretty well. And you can see how things kind of rolled over and consolidated here. So we're lining up, we want to line up with that. How do I get us to line up with that? That's what I think we're in this area, which is probably more of a 76 day. No, why? What? That's the wrong direction. Again, the wrong direction. Yeah, like this, but we're too far now. All right, 65. All right, there. That's like good enough. That's close. So I think we're somewhere here. And we could roll over down to here, like 5,800 or so, and then we get the big spike. So when everybody's super scared, then you get a huge spike. Everyone has to chase. Everyone that chased and bought here, they get liquidated when you come down here. Then you get a big spike again, and then you get the slow grind up, which is kind of what happened here, right? So you had a big dump, big spike, they liquidated people, big spike, and then slow grind up. It's exactly what happened here. It's just going to be the same playbook again. We're going to get a dump on some kind of war fears. Then we're going to get a big spike. People are going to jump in up here, get liquidated, quick dump, and then a big spike again. And then you grind higher. And people probably try to short the whole way up with this grind, which is what we kind of saw here. I'm going to get rid of all of this. That's my theory in a nutshell based on M2, which we seem to be following. I hate to admit it. I thought maybe it's a meme, but so far it works essentially the same. And yes, it will be the same for crypto, JB. Yeah, I think eventually altcoins have to do something, but for sure it's we will get to the altcoin depression. I'll talk about it. But yeah, for sure, super depressing for anyone in alts, including me. I wish I had more Bitcoins than altcoins, but I had a little bit too many altcoins, I think, in retrospect. Hello, Grega. Yeah, rockets are expensive. We got to print a lot. You know, speaking of M2 money supply, I wanted to show you guys this. I saw some guy talk about, and I want to look at this myself, and I don't know if I should do it on air just because there's a lot of controversy surrounding this stuff. But let's look at like M2 money. So United States M2 money supply, right? So United States M2 money supply looks like this. And then we can add other countries, right? So we could add, where do I do that? Add M2 money supply, let's say like China. So we can add China, right? And you can see like how much, wait, I want to get rid of all these indicators. So confusing. Get rid of all this. Okay, so there you go. Now we only have the two. You can see how much, if I zoom in, how much China outpaced the US at some point right down here. But then if I go here, we kind of catch up, and you can see how while the US is not really printing since 2022, China keeps printing like crazy, a huge amount. And then if we look at Japan, and we put, I saw Israel popped up there. That's interesting. Why did that one pop up as the, we can put Israel here. Let's see what they've been doing, since that's a big one in the news. Wait, I wanted to compare. Hold on. Wait, let's go back. Okay, we got United States. I want to add Japan, Israel, M2. Just because that was the next one to pop up. Okay, so let's let's look at like these. Okay, so in purple is Japan, and you can see how Japan kind of slowed down. Israel's kind of on pace with the US. Seems semi-similar here. But you can see how China's just printing like crazy. And that's the big thing driving M2 money supply higher. And why I think like it's going to affect, yes, it's affecting US stocks, but I think it will have a bigger effect on Bitcoin because the Chinese want to get their money out of the Chinese economy. They don't want to keep it there. If we zoom out, this is interesting. You can see why is that? Am I seeing this right? Are you guys seeing this? What? Which one is this? Holy shit. Okay, well, it lines up here. So you can see Israel, and ever since 1990, for some reason, Israel and China printed like crazy. This is China, right? Yeah, China. Look at that. Isn't that interesting? Why did they print so much? If we go back even more, it's more crazy. 1988. They printed like crazy, and I guess they had a recession during that time or something. And you can see Japan is not that much compared to the other ones. COVID was a big thing. They all printed a lot. So just something interesting to keep in mind. Israel really did. This is crazy. Do you guys see how much this stands out? I don't know how this relates to really anything, but it's interesting that when I go back this far, how much more Israel's is compared to everyone else. I don't know if anybody has any thoughts or opinions on this, but if I zoom in, if we go to like 1995, then suddenly China has printed way more. Look at that. It's not even close. But if you go back further, it's just, there's no comparison. So something happened in the 80s, I guess, that caused this big difference. And then China in the 90s, 2000s. And now everyone's kind of in line, but Japan and the US are obviously doing a lot less, while China's like straight vertical. And Israel seems to be copying the US, but in a more like fashion. Yeah. All right. So no opinions on this. I think it's interesting, and it's something to keep an eye on, because it's not just people focus on the Fed and the US, I think, too much. We've got other countries printing money and pushing it into the system. That's affecting everything. So I really think you have to keep this in mind. All right, I'm gonna go all the way back on this. Okay, so that's the basis of a lot of my theory here of what I think's happening. And that's how I'm going to play the S&P. I'm looking into this Friday for things to really dump in the Opex. It would make sense for max pain of options expiry. And then either that's the bottom, or we get one last dump Monday, and then we rally. So I'm short in more of like a hedge fashion, and then I'm going to get long. I'm gonna buy longs on this dump. That's my plan. I plan to ride this higher, but I want to see this daily chart. I've got to see. I can't just go off M2 money supply. I want to see the RSI and MACD put in some kind of divergence to form a bottom, especially since this weekly doesn't look great. Now, I do want to clarify that this might not happen as fast as I just said. It could take maybe 2 weeks, because that Tom DeMark does not make me feel comfortable. So don't be in a hurry to buy everything. It could go quite a bit lower. Yeah, okay, so that's the S&P. I would apply that to basically all the stocks. I mean, you can look at all these, like Boeing, I've talked about a couple times. We can talk about Tesla. I know everybody's interested in Tesla. Tesla's just sitting here. I'm a little bit disappointed with it. It's on this daily downtrend. It really needs to break out on the other side of this. So until it, oh, sorry, this is a 4 hour. You see a daily. Yeah, the daily is pretty similar, but I like the 4 hour, so I'm going to set an alert. Once the RSI gets on the other side of this 4 hour, I'll consider maybe adding to some longs for a further upside move. You could do like a little, we do a daily chart for this one. We could do a little ABCD here if you want to do something like conservative target. You can get up here 420, something like that. That would be funny if it hit. I'm sure that would make Elon happy if we hit 420. So that's how I'm playing Tesla. I could see this roll over a bit and head down here to like 300 level before moving up. I know a lot of people are still watching United Healthcare. So this one dumped hard, right? And on a weekly chart, it looks really bad. But it did have a 7 and 8 come in, and it's something I'm keeping an eye on that maybe could bounce in the future. The daily does look strong, but it looks like it's starting to break down, and you can see how if a weekly doesn't bounce, the daily is not, price is not going to bounce. This could go lower. I actually don't like how this weekly is looking. I was initially bullish on this, but now I see the weekly chart. I don't like it. This should have bounced by now, at least a little bit. It could actually head lower here and then finally move up. I was expecting something like this, but it seems like it could do that, especially if this daily breaks down. This is really strong momentum, but I don't like that the weekly is basically bearish. So when you have something embedded down here like that, the chance of the lower time frame superseding that momentum is rare. And oftentimes you flatline. Price flatlines when a lower time frame is essentially competing against a higher time frame. The higher time frame, the two like clash in the middle, and then nothing happens and price just, and then eventually the higher time frame wins out and price moves in that direction. And in this case, it's down. So I'm a little bit concerned about this, and I'm not feeling as bullish as I did before about UNH buying this pullback. I think they're just like letting option buyers all go to zero here. You probably had a lot of puts and call buyers, like the volatility. They're just getting smashed. Normally things consolidate for a month to 2 months before they move, just to give time to kind of destroy those option buyers. Okay, that's UNH. You guys let me know if you want to look at any other stock names. Otherwise, I will talk about silver really quick, and then I will move to crypto. So silver is slowly moving up in our target range. I said that this would happen, and it looks good on a weekly chart. Let's check a daily. Oh, you did have a 7 and 8 come in. Maybe that's why it paused. Yeah. So still in an uptrend here. Target is still 48 potentially. Could stop at 40 and then go to 48, or just stop at 40. But I'm thinking we do hit that 48 level on silver. Is looking good here. Nice breakout from 33 to 36. If you get any kind of pullback, I could see it being a nice buy and then heading higher. So I do like that as long as RSI is intact. I think it's decent, but I wouldn't buy just yet. I would wait for maybe a little bit of a pullback to get in. IonQ. Oh yeah, IonQ. All right. Yeah, I talked about that before. Yeah, this one is being stubborn. I'm very annoyed with this. I'm short IonQ and super annoyed that it's not going down. This is a weekly divergence here that came in on both RSI and MACD, and you had a TD9. You had a TD9. There is so many bearish signals on a weekly chart. This thing should have just done this. Should have just went down like that. But it's not. And I may cut my short position because of that. Like it looks like it's trying to reverse foolishly. It's annoying because I'm not getting my payout that I wanted from this. So it's looking like it's trying to bottom and W out. Yeah, like this. So that's actually this is kind of a bullish breakout move, and I could see it moving higher now. Where does it move higher to? Not exactly sure, but that would make sense kind of actually right there. It could do something like this, right? If that's your baby W, it could just go to 60. Something like that. But I think on Friday I will close I had a short in this, I would close my short position. I don't like that this is looking bullish now. Could go to 60. So if you like this, then you can buy it and go long. I don't think it actually it's a decent setup here. You can't, this isn't bad. This is not a bad setup. You could buy it and it could hit 60, and that would be a nice 50% profit. So that's IonQ. What is the other one? What is the other quantum stock? QBT? Quantum. Qubits quantum. Is it qubits? Wait a second. Wait, let me see what I have. I think it's QBTS. D-Wave, yeah, D-Wave quantum. So same thing with D-Wave quantum, where it had this TD7 come in. It had a divergence on RSI, not on MACD, but I did short it up here, and it looks like it's, so this one doesn't look as good as IonQ. It looks worse. However, on a 4-hour time frame, it looks like it's also trying to bottom. It is not confirmed yet. I need it on the other side of this RSI downtrend line, but this price action and staying above this trend line here tells me that it potentially wants to make another leg higher. Something like this. Up to, you know, the old highs around 20. So like a 25% return. Not as good as IonQ, but decent. Better than I would like to see it. I wanted to see it go down, and it's not. So yeah, there's that one. Could make another move higher. So if you want to trade those, you know, you could get 25-50% return on the up move that I potentially see happening. Not terrible. Okay, so those are kind of the stocks. Touched on silver. I think we can take a look at Bitcoin and see what's going on. And why don't we start by overlaying M2 and talking about that briefly. So this one is pretty accurate, and you can see how we got our pullback here, and look at how much better this lines up compared to how the S&P lined up. S&P was a little bit messy, but this lines up like almost perfectly. It's creepy how well this all lines up. And you can see there was a pullback and consolidation here, so it kind of makes sense that that's what we're doing. I think a wick down, potentially even to 97K or something. I actually don't see us going that low. I could see it like 100, just go below this, or it might not even get there. It'll just go maybe like 101. Somewhere between 101 and like 99 is where I could see it getting to. I just think there's probably so many bids at 100K they don't want to fill anyone, and there's probably a bunch right below this wick. So what they'll do is they'll go to here, like 108, 101K, and they'll liquidate everyone basically here, and then go to right here and get the fills, and then just go straight up. That's kind of what I'm picturing happening. I don't see a world where Bitcoin doesn't go up. I don't see it. It's hard for me to envision. And as far as like upside potential, yeah, I could see it looks like M2 is getting to kind of that area that my 4.618 was targeting, basically right around here. Are we still lining up? Okay. I think it's off a bit. Yeah, so it looks like it went up to around that 140K area that I'm targeting, but it could go way higher. Like it hasn't stopped. We need to see some kind of pullback, but obviously it pauses here, which is what I want to see. If this is accurate, then and these chaos levels are accurate, then I want to see it stop at this 4.669, which is kind of what we're seeing. This is a bit of a rejection. So, and we wanted to see this 2.618 rejection, which is also what we got, and we wanted to see a consolidation, which is also what we got. And now you have a range that's formed, and you should be able to draw the bottom and top of that range and get something that is similar. See how close we are? Could actually go to the bottom here, and then we're just a little bit above. So either way, you're in this range, and that range brings you up to the approximate Bitcoin target up here, 135, 136, 130. Like when you're up there, you should start unloading a bit, and then you can buy more later. I mean, unless you're holding it long term, then you just keep holding it and you only sell when you need to. So, trying to show M2 lining up with technical analysis. I like when they fit together. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that M2, which, as you also saw, is essentially driven a great deal by China. It's the China-driven M2. Okay, what else can I tell you about Bitcoin? What's going to happen in the short term over the next couple hours? It's a mess. This chart's a mess. I can't say what is going to happen on these really low time frames. Just no, it's a mess. Just I prefer looking at like these daily 12-hour charts, and you can see it's semi-bearish for now, but not like the S&P bearish. S&P definitely looks worse. But what I would do is I would look at price action, and I would say, okay, this is my range, and I've showed you guys this before, and this is the low, and we bounced once off 78.6. Mostly we're sitting at 61.8. A wick down to 88.6 would make perfect sense, maybe even a little bit lower. So this area here would be my buy zone. If I was following this theory, this would be my buy zone, and my stop would be here at 100,300. But maybe I'll go even a little bit lower. If I really want to make sure I'm long, I can go to 98, 99,000. And then I would target all the way up at the highs. And I would link any altcoins I want to get long on, I would link it to this. So when Bitcoin hits, then you just market buy the altcoins, because they'll probably bounce as soon as Bitcoin bounces. The problem is that you don't know what levels those altcoins are going to go to. You could try to map it, but they don't obey levels nearly as well as Bitcoin does. Ethereum, it kind of works. Solana also, the top 3. But if you go into like shitcoin territory, anything below like top 10, it's not, they don't follow this as well. And that's why I always try to look to see, okay, did it hit this level? Okay, I'll market buy whatever altcoin at the same time. Worst alt season. I am going to quit crypto after this cycle. Trading stocks is way better and less stressful. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. You can do that. That's fine. Trade stocks. It is less stressful. But I like that you're saying that, because that tells me that the fact that I'm seeing a lot of people say this tells me we're probably getting to the bottom for alts, and that they're going to have a massive rally right after this, because this is exactly the type of sentiment you want for there to be essentially an alt season. This is what we want. We want people saying, I hate crypto, I hate altcoins, they're the worst, and I'm going to pull all my money in stocks. Something like that. That's what you want to hear. And that's how you know you're getting close to the bottom. And BTCD, right? If we look at this, it's kind of just chopping higher, but you have these divergences that are coming in. It's not momentum, at least on MACD, is not confirming this move. You can see on the weekly, it's getting ready to break down. Not yet, but seems like it's coming. That whole just altcoin destruction all the way up. Follow Bitcoin and Ethereum also. It's going to be the same. These two charts look very similar. Very, very similar charts. So when Bitcoin breaks down, Ethereum's going to do the same, but I don't know exactly where Ethereum's going to go to. It maybe does something like this, or if that's your high and this is your low, then Ethereum goes to like 2386, maybe a little bit lower, 2370. 23 in this 23 area, but I wouldn't put it past Ethereum to go all the way down to 2000, or even wick to like 2100. I don't have as much faith in this as I do in the Bitcoin chart. So be careful if you're trading the altcoins, because they can be kind of screwy. You can also see, by the way, can you guys see this? So I mapped the range down here, tagged our 1.618, blasted through 2.618, and then stopped, just dead stopped at 4.669. Stopped, just dead. And now we have a new range, right? So this is our new range. We can actually get rid of this. And we can say, okay, this is kind of the average of the range, and this is the high of the range. Could even make it a little bit tighter, be a bit conservative. Say this is your 1.618, and then this is your next target for Ethereum, 3589. Now, if we want to be a little bit less conservative, a tiny bit more aggressive, then we could say it's 3700. That would be your next kind of target area. Or you could take profits. You could also look at the high and the low and call this like a big range, right? Just like that. And you can see we're just ping-ponging between 38.2 and 50%. And then we'll move up. We'll hit the 61.8, which lines up with this resistance level. Maybe get rejected, then move up, hit the 78.6, and eventually 88.6 is the same as where our 4.669 level was. And that's where maybe we take profit, assuming Ethereum's not going to break to new highs, which it just doesn't look like it here. I mean, it's been stuck in this range forever. But I could see it definitely going here to this level. There's kind of your levels on Ethereum. I think I gave you this information. A lot of this information is going to be good for like 2 weeks. Yeah, good to hear, Grega. Yeah, so that's my plan. I'm waiting for this flush. I've got alerts set. I've got actually limit orders set. So I've got a limit set here, but I'm gonna add an alert on TradingView. And I already have an alert here. Got one here. Maybe I set one a little bit lower. No, and we even do one here, so I get tons of alerts. So when this happens, it's gonna be fast. It's gonna be like this. You see how? So if we go to 1 hour, see these dips? You had 2 hours here. You basically had 2 hours here to get in. I don't see it being any longer than that. If we go down here, you're going to have like 1 hour. It's going to be 1 to 2 hours. So if you're sleeping, it's going to be tough, and that's why you kind of should set limit orders ahead of time to get filled. The problem is you can't really do that with alts because you don't know where they're going to end up, and you kind of have to market buy them. So yeah, it makes it a little bit harder. You can, of course, set limit orders on the alts, but I'm just not a big fan. You can see like things like Optimism are all the way at lows. They're just not great coins. I'm not really surprised there. You got a lot. I think you have a lot of alts like that, and that's why people are kind of pissed and getting tired of things, because some alts, Bitcoin is at all-time highs. Not all-time highs, but it's basically at the highs, and you've got alts that are just crap that were $4 or $5 before, and they're like 50 cents now, so 90% drop. I mean, OP in 2024 was at $4, and now it's 55 cents. Remember the chaos video about how it applies to the population of rabbits and coyotes? Picture alts as the rabbits. There was a population explosion. Now who are the coyotes and how many survive? Yeah, exactly. Well, I would say the coyotes are the major platforms that facilitate all these coins, like Ethereum, Solana, those type of things. So those are kind of the coyotes in a way. And this is why I don't like going over so many coins, because I think it's just a waste of time. I think you just focus on the bigger ones, and you don't have to get into the weeds with all these crappy coins when a lot of them are probably going to be gone. And that's pretty much why I just focus on the higher time frames. Yeah, look at Bitcoin rolling over here. Let's see. S&P bouncing a little bit, but Bitcoin keeps rolling over. Could flush even today. It could flush any minute. So just understand that. Be prepared for it. Have some money ready to buy on the flush. Set your stop down here. Make sure to set your stop, because what if we just keep going? There's always that like 1% chance. I don't think it's going to happen, but there's always a chance, and I think it's a good idea to have stops. Sui, of course, I'm keeping an eye on. 7 and 8 on a daily. It's getting these setups are really good. I mean, countless coins with basically these same setups, especially on the alts. I can look at something like AVAX. Right, same thing. It's at an 8. You know, it's going down into these lows. It's been consolidating for a while. Perfect springboard to kind of move higher. Just so the final flush is probably going to go, maybe it goes below these lows in April. Just flush everyone out and then just like doop and then boom. Something like that. Probably not that exaggerated, but you get the picture. That's what I'm seeing. I think you got to be careful here. Careful today, careful tomorrow, over the weekend. Just careful until the big flush happens. It's gonna. I'm pretty confident it's going to happen, but you have to have a plan. You could use my plan that I kind of just described, or you could create your own plan. Have a plan for when this happens, because when it happens, it's going to be too fast for you to think. If you have the plan, you just know, doot, step 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, done. But if you don't have it, you're gonna panic. You're gonna, what if it goes lower? What if this happens? Blah blah blah. Well, what if you have a plan, and then you just buy at those levels, and then if you get stopped, darn, you get stopped. But in your plan, you probably already calculated how much money you would lose if you got stopped out, and you should be okay with that amount of money being lost. All right, that's kind of it. That's what I'm seeing. I think you need to prepare yourself for that if you're not prepared for it already. And, you know, if you play this right, I think you can do really well. You can make a lot. But you got to play it right. Don't mess it up. Okay. Yeah, I don't really have anything else. I will get the commentary from this video, captions, and I will post it, the summary in the Discord, probably in about 12 to 18 hours. Last time it pretty much didn't come through until like 20 hours later. It took forever. Hopefully this time it's faster and I can give you guys that summary, because I know a lot of people like that, and it kind of provides nice, clear predictions of where I expect things to go and breaks down what I said in the show in an easy to understand way. But for now, okay, bearish. I have bearish. I'm positioned bearishly. Long term, I am bullish still, and I am being very careful with crypto because I think we're going to get a flush that's going to knock a bunch of people out, and then we're going to get a quick rally higher, all the way up to about 135, 140K Bitcoin. That's where I see us in the short term. Okay, hope you guys have a great rest of the day, great weekend, and I will see you on the website, and if not, I will see you here. Actually, not here. I'll be in Vietnam. So I have to do like visa updates and stuff. So I'm going to go to Vietnam and actually do free diving training there, and then go to Philippines for like a week to do free diving in Pang Lao, I think it's called. Okay. So no camera probably next week because I'll be in Vietnam in some random location. Okay. That's it. See you guys in the Discord. Have a great weekend, and